Here's something I've started telling patients that sounds like I've completely lost my mind. Some of you would get more out of crawling across your living room floor than from another set of bench press. I have not lost my mind. Your body has just changed, and nobody updated the instruction manual. 5 exercises. Here's exactly what they do to your body after 50 and why lifting weights can't. Here's what most people over 50 experience at some point. The training that worked stops working. Same weights, same effort, different results. The joints start talking. The recovery gets longer. And the standard advice, lift heavier, push harder, quietly makes all of it worse. It's not a motivation problem, it's a biology problem. Stay with me through exercise 3, because there's one movement in this video that directly rebuilds something most people over 50 have been losing for years without knowing it. And it has nothing to do with how strong you are. After 50, 3 things shift in how your body handles training. Recovery takes longer. Joints absorb load differently. And the mechanism that rebuilds muscle moves away from pure weight toward tension, control, and specificity. Heavy lifting ignores all 3 of those shifts. These 5 exercises don't. Exercise 1. Slow eccentric push-up. The first exercise looks exactly like something you already know how to do. It is, technically, a push-up. The difference is one instruction. Lower yourself to the floor over 5 full seconds. 5 seconds sounds like nothing. Somewhere around second 3, you will disagree. That slow lowering phase, the part everyone skips to get to the next rep, is called the eccentric phase. It's where most of the interesting biology happens. Eccentric contractions generate significantly more mechanical tension than concentric contractions of the same movement. In aging muscle specifically, that tension is one of the most potent triggers for muscle protein synthesis we know of. Eccentric loading also stimulates collagen production in tendons, which means you're not just building muscle, you're rebuilding the tissue that holds everything together. After 50, that's not a bonus, that's the whole point. Draw your belly button gently toward your spine. Lower your chest toward the floor 5 seconds. Controlled, no sagging hips. Press back up. That's 1 rep. 5 to 8 reps. If that sounds underwhelming, wait until rep 4. Easier. Hands elevated on a bench. Harder. Pause 2 seconds at the bottom before pressing up, or elevate your feet on a bench to increase the load. Exercise 2. Bear crawl. Exercise 2 requires getting on all 4s. As an adult, in your living room, possibly while your family watches. Do it anyway. The bear crawl looks like something a toddler does. What it actually does to your nervous system is something no barbell has ever come close to. Here's the move. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, hovering just an inch off the floor. Back flat. Now crawl forward. Opposite arm and leg moving together. Right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. Draw your belly button gently toward your spine and keep it there. The moment your hips rise or your back sags, the whole thing stops working. The contralateral movement pattern, opposite arm, opposite leg, fires neural pathways that conventional strength training simply doesn't reach. After 50, the decline in that neural integration is one of the earliest predictors of balance loss and falls. The bear crawl forces both brain hemispheres to coordinate while your core stabilizes the whole system. No barbell does that. A toddler figured this out before we did. 30 seconds. Rest. Repeat twice. Easier. Move slower. Harder. Pause 1 full second with each step. Knee hovering, not touching. Exercise 3 is the one we mentioned at the start. The movement that rebuilds something most people over 50 have been quietly losing for years. You're going to feel it in places you forgot existed. Exercise 3. Hollow body hold. This is the one. Lie on your back. Arms extended overhead, legs straight. Press your lower back firmly into the floor. Not a gentle nudge, a deliberate press. Now lift your shoulders, arms, and legs just a few inches off the ground. Hold. It looks like absolutely nothing. Your body will immediately disagree. The hollow body hold creates full body tension through posterior pelvic tilt that forces the deep stabilizers to engage completely. We've used this in clinical rehabilitation for decades. The fact that it never made it into mainstream fitness is, frankly, embarrassing. Keep pressing that lower back into the floor throughout. That's your cue. The moment it lifts, the deep work stops. Hold for 20 seconds. Rest. 3 rounds. Easier. Bend your knees or keep your arms by your sides. Harder. Hold for 40 seconds without losing that lower back contact. 3 exercises in, and your nervous system, your tendons, and your deep spine stabilizers have all had a conversation they haven't had in years. Exercise 4 is for your hamstrings. And if you're a woman over 50, stay with me, because there's something specific happening in this next one that explains a kind of stiffness most women have been told is just aging. Exercise 4. Single leg Romanian deadlift. Stand on one foot. If you've never done this before, that's also where it immediately gets interesting. Soft bend in the standing knee. Draw your belly button gently toward your spine. Now hinge from the hip, not the waist, and let your free leg extend behind you as a counterbalance as you lower. Hold something light if you have it. A water bottle works. So does nothing. Feel the hamstring load as you lower. Drive through your heel to return. 8 to 10 reps. Then switch. The hip hinge is one of the first functional movement patterns to go after 50. Most people discover this when they drop their keys, look at them on the floor, and briefly stand there reconsidering their options. The single leg version exposes which side has been carrying the other, and for women especially, estrogen decline after menopause makes posterior chain work less optional and more urgent. Both sides. Neither gets to hide. One side will feel shakier. That's not a problem. That's the information. Easier. Lightly touch a wall with your free hand for balance. Harder. Hold a dumbbell in the opposite hand and slow the lowering phase to 4 seconds. One more. And this last one specifically targets the exercise most likely to send you to a shoulder surgeon after 50 and replaces it with something your rotator cuff will actually thank you for. 4 exercises in. Your tendons are being rebuilt. Your nervous system has been recalibrated. Your deep core is awake again. And your posterior chain has been reminded it exists. That's what happens to your body when you stop fighting it and start working with it. One more. Exercise 5. Pike push-up. The last exercise is an overhead press, just not the kind that ends careers. Start in a downward dog position, hands on the floor, hips high, body forming an inverted V. Draw your belly button gently toward your spine. Now bend your elbows and lower your head toward the floor between your hands. Press back up. That's it. That's the overhead press your rotator cuff has been waiting for. The rotator cuff is the most commonly surgically repaired structure in the upper body after 50. The damage accumulated gradually, one overhead press at a time, with the scapula pinned and nowhere to go. The pike push-up loads the same pressing pattern with the scapula free to move as designed. It's a small change in setup. It's the difference between building a shoulder and slowly dismantling one. 6 to 10 reps. Keep that inverted V shape throughout. Don't let the hips drop. Easier. Hands elevated on a bench. Harder. Elevate your feet on a chair and feel the load shift significantly toward the deltoids. What happens to your body after 50 when you do these instead of lifting weights? It stops working against itself and starts working with you. Most people take years to figure that out. You just did it in 8 minutes.